r/ask Reddit. What is your favorite, very creepy fact? Cotard's delusion is a rare psychiatric condition, severe cases of which cause the sufferer to wholeheartedly believe they are dead, putrefying, or simply do not exist. Some Cotard's patients refuse to eat, as they do not believe they need to, with one notable patient dying of starvation. Another woman once asked to be taken to a morgue, to be with the other dead people. I literally have a neighbor that has this and I never knew what it was called. She constantly explains how she is dead, has no pulse and how her husband denies her from being buried or sent to the morgue. She sincerely believes she is dead even if proved otherwise. When a person is electrocuted in the electric chair, they feel everything. They are fully aware of their bodies being fried, as it happens in real time. One inmate who survived the first round of electrocution said it tasted like cold peanut butter. In 1844, there was a case of hysteria in a French convent of nuns. One started meowing and after a week all the nuns were meowing harmoniously in the afternoons. It didn't stop until neighbors called soldiers. There was a similar happening in Germany. The entire population of the village danced and partied themselves to death. That was likely more due to mold in the grain they used to make bread. They were literally tripping their faces off constantly. If this is true, then makes a lot more sense. Look up ergot poisoning. It's a plausible explanation to a bunch of the fricky-wacky stuff from history. Witches, werewolves, demon sightings. It's not that there used to be more supernatural occurrences. It's just that everyone in the past was constantly accidentally tripping balls. Also, being in the dark alone and scared, with no light source, map, or phone, does crazy things to your brain. The children's story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin was based on a real event. Hamelin town records start with this event. The earliest written record is from the town chronicles in an entry from 1384 which states, "It is 100 years since our children left. No one know what or who took the children, but there's records of the entire town's children being taken." I actually did some research into this. Historians believe the children were not taken as in kidnapped. No mysterious man grabbed all the children and took off. Instead, an illness probably spread which mostly impacted children, who have a weaker immune system and are not as strong. The illness probably killed most, if not all, of the children. Another theory is that the rat catcher didn't kidnap them. Instead the parents gave them to him as payment, instead of money. That's how it's presented in the Law podcast. German states were creating new settlements in eastern regions and needed settlers. Individuals would go from town to town offering payment for people, including kids. Parents in desperate need of cash sold off their children and created the Pied Piper story to hide their shame. Doesn't sound plausible now that I type it out. There is a rare genetic disease called fatal familial insomnia where over the course of months you literally cannot go or be put to sleep no matter what you take or what you do. The symptoms get progressively worse until finally you stay awake watching yourself go insane until you die from exhaustion. There is a guy by the name of Ricard Syagian who documented this genetic disease on YouTube, and with each video you can tell his mental state gets worse and worse. It eventually gets so bad that his last videos are just weird conspiracy theories, and, as expected from a disease with no cure, he sadly passed away before he started suffering from it, since it can sit in your genetic code for years without you noticing. He was an artist. May he rest in peace. Probably should be clarified that while the symptoms and mental state could be similar, Syagian clarified in the video description of his first video regarding his insomnia that he did not have fatal familial insomnia, but rather, it was a side effect from taking a specific antibiotic that created a neurotoxic reaction resulting in his inability to sleep. When you happen to be murdered, there is only an about 40% chance that your murderer will be found and punished. A human corpse decomposes 4 times faster in water than in the ground, and 8 times faster in open air than in the ground. Sky burial is such a crazy cool concept. When I'm dead, just throw me in the trash and then burn the trash so it gives the bar that nice smoky smell and it goes up in the air and turns into stars. That doesn't sound right, but I don't know enough about stars to dispute it. After getting stung by a coned snail, you don't feel the sting for a little bit. There is no antivenin and it can be lethal. Treatment is basically keeping the victim alive until the venom wears off. That's just like the blue-ringed octopus. But we gotta restrict blood flow from bite. Right? I think it's more that you need to get put on a respirator until the paralysis wears off. Your insides are constantly moving around and stuff. I hate this, but it's my favorite for that reason. I tried on a proper tight corset once. When I took it off I could feel my inside slide back down out of my ribcage. It happens during pregnancy too. All your organs shift to accommodate a baby. The week or so where they're noticeably shifting back is unenjoyable. Yup, I am getting flashbacks to the slithery jelly feeling shudders. The human brain continues to give off electrical signals for 20 to 40 seconds after death. This is why sometimes people move right after they die. We took my mum off life support and held her hands as she passed. She had been unconscious for days at that point, unmoving. When she died, her whole body moved like she was having a seizure, which was really upsetting. It's just the last bit of electricity in your brain going out. Also, hearing is the last sense to leave, so if you are with someone who is dying, please keep talking to them. Hey, just in case you didn't know and also to perhaps make it better for you. The body has lots of reflexes that don't require any kind of consciousness. For example, people with very strong brain injuries might still grip stuff in their hands as that is something humans are born with. Moving arms also is possible while brain dead. Talking to them is something you should definitely do just in case, but I hope you or others around didn't interpret her movements as pain or similar, because it wasn't. The bodies of the sailors who died on the Edmund Fitzgerald are still down there, almost perfectly preserved, due to the water at that depth being just barely above freezing. Divers who have explored the wreckage have seen their bodies frozen in place to parts of the ship, and have come back reporting that they feel as if they were being followed during their time underwater. Photos were taken, but per the request of the crew's family, they have never been released to the public. I always forget that the Edmund Fitzgerald sunk in 1975. It had a law that make it seems like it happened in like 1870. The last message sent from them was "We're holding our own," in response to a message asking them if they were okay during a bad storm. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. About 3,000 people disappear every year in the US and are never found again. This is really scary and sad. One of my worst fears. It's estimated that there is around 25-50 active serial killers in the US. That seems kinda low. It's hard not to get caught nowadays with cameras everywhere and DNA technology being at where it is now. The world today is not an easy place for serial killers to thrive in, as it was in the 70s and 80s. It's hard not to get caught nowadays with cameras everywhere and DNA technology being at where it is now. Oh, it's much easier if you get real rural. I've been through little mountain towns where you could drop a body off a cliff and it'd be lucky to ever get seen again. Hell, you get to towns small enough, someone could shoot you, bury you somewhere on their heavily forested land, and that's the last anyone will see of you. Oh. Friend is a park ranger. They find bodies from falls about twice a year and a suicide or two as well. Many of the bodies are really close to the trail, but animals devour them in a few days. Many times they find bodies years after they died only a few paces off a well-known trail in a very well-known park system. It takes approximately 359 humans to have enough iron to forge a sword from their blood. Edgiest weapon ever. So technically you could make a blood iron armor set. Sounds like a good start to a D&D villain. When your organs are taken out of your body for abdominal surgery, they don't get placed back in carefully or specifically. You just put all the organs back in, and the body sorts itself out. On top of that, some people are born with a condition called situs inversus, in which all their organs are a mirror image of what is normal. Having this automatically disqualifies you from being in the military. When your organs are taken out of your body for abdominal surgery, they don't get placed back in carefully or specifically. You just put all the organs back in, and the body sorts itself out. Back when I was a surgical intern, I remember that after an abdominal surgery, the surgeon would grab the open edges of the abdominal cavity, like when you hold a plastic bag open, and shimmy the hell out of the person's open wound. I asked him what the hell he was doing, and he said when you shake a person's guts like this, they kinda fall into place on their own. I looked down and he was right. They all fell perfectly into place. The body is freaking weird, man. Like a squishy moist 3D puzzle. Congrats, you've made it to the end. You're a beast. Like and subscribe for more r/ask Reddit content. It's free, so why not just do it?